Well, now that you've had time to sort of catch your breath and internalize everything that happened, because your reaction during it was visceral and real, and I understood it completely, and I knew that that's how you were going to react. Now that you've had some time to take it all in, what are your final words on the way that whole thing went down?
I think the team that ended up with Shedeur would find a Shedeur that is all into that team. I think Shedeur just wanted, hey, you have faith in me, you have belief in me. Who's going to have that faith, that belief? And in the draft process, until draft day and your pick, you really don't know. So, Cam Ward got that assurance from Tennessee.
Kiper is the latest to go at and destroy the Cleveland Browns organization over this whole quarterback situation when it comes to Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Now, we all know who Mel Kiper is, well respected in the sports of football. Mel Kiper's big board, his draft board, he gives you great breakdown on players. And he said some things about the Cleveland Browns.
ESPN's Mel Kiper just went off on the Cleveland Browns, like nuclear-level meltdown mode. He didn't just criticize them, he scorched the whole franchise from top to bottom. Kiper said the Browns aren't just losing games anymore, they're losing their grip on reality. And stuck in the middle of the madness? Shedeur Sanders. The poor guy walked into that locker room and probably thought he stumbled onto a reality show directed by chaos itself.
Me and D. Haslam, the owners of the Cleveland Browns, y'all gotta cut it out. Whatever is going on there is becoming too obvious that you're trying to break the kid here, because realistically, he should be in the game already. I know you're trying to try out another quarterback. You're trying to make sure that whatever you do, you get your point across them. It's becoming more and more ridiculous on you guys' part. You're not winning, so it's not like you're not having them on the floor, on the field, because you guys are winning and you're trying to preserve something. At this point, it seemed like you're just trying to go as far as you can to get a negative response out of him. And
how do you manage to break a generational talent before he even gets a chance to shine? Only Cleveland could pull that off. The Browns have turned losing into performance art. It's not just about bad luck, it's a full-blown identity at this point. Some teams rebuild, some reload, but the Browns, they've made disappointment their brand. Every season they find a new way to make fans shake their heads and say, of course that happened. And apparently Mel Kiper has finally had enough. The man spent decades grading drafts and scouting prospects, but this time it wasn't just another football take. It was a full-blown public takedown. He basically held up a mirror and asked the question everyone's been screaming for years. What on earth are you doing? Because somehow, some way, Cleveland found a way to take Shedeur Sanders, one of the most electric quarterback prospects we've seen in years, and turn his debut into a possible NFL horror story. It's like watching someone buy a brand new Ferrari and drive it straight into a lake. The Browns just have this magical ability. Give them something rare, something full of promise, and they'll turn it into a mess before you can blink. They don't just ruin momentum, they ruin hope. Now let's be real. Shedeur Sanders came in with massive expectations.
Let Shedeur get a series then. Heck, let him play in some NFL action. You moved him up to 2 on the depth chart. There's a couple minutes left. Game's over. Why not let him get out there and get his feet wet a little bit in the NFL in a setting that doesn't matter as much, just like he did in preseason? Made no sense to me. ESPN Cleveland looked at this and said, well, maybe that's why the Browns didn't put in Shedeur. They didn't want to start a quarterback controversy, right? You put in Shedeur at the end, he goes and scores a touchdown, and all of a sudden everyone's going to scream that he should be the starting quarterback.
This isn't just another college standout trying to find his footing. This is the son of prime time. The name alone carries weight, but the kid's got the goods. Big arm, surgical accuracy, poise under pressure. Everything you dream of in a future franchise quarterback. But of course, he landed in Cleveland. And that's where Kiper dropped the hammer. He pointed straight at the Browns' biggest curse, the endless quarterback carousel, the constant coaching swaps, and that obsession with quick fixes that fix nothing. Cleveland doesn't develop quarterbacks, they drain them. They turn promise into panic and patience into press conference excuses. Most teams spend the offseason building strategy.
1999, I mentioned the quarterbacks, they've had busts galore, right? But they had one they hit on. When you hit on a quarterback, and you know in that building and on that field, you got the right guy who's a leader, the players rally around, and you let him go and you cut him loose, shame on you. So again, that's again speaks to where we are right now. You mentioned 2 first-round picks. They have their own, which is going to be high, and they have Jacksonville's pick as well. They got work to do. And again, figure out Dillon Gabriel. That was Kevin Stefanski's guy. Shedeur Sanders, Andrew Barry brought in because he was there in the 5th round, and we took him, see what happens. I'm not ready just because the league doesn't speak. I don't care what the league says. The league doesn't speak about quarterbacks. They don't know any more than what you want.
The Browns spend it trying to survive their own chaos. New plans, new faces, new slogans, same results. And now it feels like Shedeur might be the next talented player sacrificed on the altar of dysfunction. Just imagine being Shedeur Sanders, growing up around legends, learning from one of the most iconic players ever, and stepping into the league ready to write your own story, only to find out your new home is the same franchise that once made its quarterback room so toxic players were practically flipping coins to see who had to start. The Browns keep saying they're building something special, but then you look at the coaching staff, and it feels less like a football operation and more like a group therapy session with playbooks. Every new coordinator walks in talking about unlocking potential, but somehow ends up locking it in a closet instead. Shedeur Sanders didn't sign up for this circus. He came to the NFL to ball out, not to star in another tragic episode of How to Waste Talent in 10 Easy Steps. The craziest part? The Browns actually had a moment, a brief flash when it looked like the curse might finally be breaking. The defense was tough, the run game was rolling, and for a second, the city believed. But this is Cleveland, and belief doesn't last long here. The Browns don't build momentum, they repel it like it's bad luck. That draft was supposed to be their fresh start, their chance to finally build around a true franchise quarterback. But instead of locking in and protecting their future, they treated it like a casual side mission. No offensive line upgrades, no offensive identity, no vision that fits the skill set of a dynamic young passer.
Organization ruins quarterbacks because we've seen everything that he talked about. You look at Baker Mayfield, he's down in Tampa, he's showing out. Cleveland gave up on him. You look at Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco has balled out ever since he's been traded to the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Flacco damn near threw for 500 yards today against the Chicago Bears. That was a great game. It came down to the wire, and Chicago pulled it out. But we've seen what Joe Flacco has done.
Just pure chaos wrapped in fake confidence. Mel Kiper saw right through it. You could practically see that look on his face. The face of a man who's given this team too many chances and finally realized the doubt was always right. The Browns talk about commitment to winning, but commitment isn't about hashtags and hype videos. It's about structure, leadership, and accountability when the pressure hits. Cleveland's version of commitment? They're committed to confusion. They double down on dysfunction like it's part of the playbook. There's a harsh truth in the NFL. Talent doesn't matter if your environment eats it alive. You can have the strongest arm, the smartest mind, the fastest legs. But if the system around you collapses, none of it matters. And that's exactly what analysts fear for Shedeur Sanders. His skill isn't the problem, it's everything around him. Every rookie QB needs stability. A consistent playbook, a solid line, and coaches who build confidence, not destroy it. Cleveland offers none of that. Instead, they hand their quarterback a headset full of mixed signals and a good luck speech that sounds more like a warning. The Browns' idea of preparation is pure optimism without a plan. They hype every draft pick, overpromise every change, and when it all falls apart, they rinse, repeat, and rebrand the same mistakes.
It's going to show us in real time you don't know what you're talking about because you told us in the draft this was your hand-picked quarterback. It is the exact reason Shedeur Sanders doesn't get reps because he's going to give every opportunity for Dillon Gabriel to throw his way out of purgatory. It's the reason he dropped back 58 times against the Steelers. The jig is up, Kevin. We understand what it is. We get it. And when you don't have Quinshon Judkins to prop him up, you see what happens. The offense is terrible. Kevin Stefanski has been outcoached by all types of coaches. The offense is JV, high school, Lakewood, St. Ed's dump-offs.
And in between all that, the fans suffer. No fan base deserves this constant heartbreak, this endless cycle of hope followed by humiliation. You can already feel the tension building. Every throw, every snap, every sideline shot will be dissected like it's breaking news. When Mel Kiper speaks up, it's not because he's chasing clicks. It's because he's seen this movie too many times. He knows how it ends. The Browns find lightning in a bottle, then forget to put the cap back on. There's almost a dark comedy to it. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders' potential is just sitting there waiting to be unleashed. He's got the poise, the pedigree, the precision, everything that screams future star. But in Cleveland's world, potential means nothing inside a system that keeps eating its own. You can already see the warning signs flashing. Miscommunications at camp, confusing coach talk, and that same old we're figuring it out energy that never actually figures out anything. Every NFL team has flaws, sure, but Cleveland feels custom built for chaos. Coaching confusion, inconsistent drafting, locker room drama. It's the trifecta of dysfunction. And every offseason, here comes the same recycled promise. This time, it's different. They swear the culture's changing. The vision's clearer, the leadership's stronger.
Has completely let the Cleveland Browns organization have it of the way that they're handling quarterback situation when it comes to Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders this year. Now, we've all seen the quarterbacks that came out of Cleveland, and Mel Kiper, he alluded to the situation with all quarterbacks coming out of Cleveland. And basically he's saying that, the Cleveland Browns organization, they destroy quarterbacks.
But by midseason, the same storm rolls back in like clockwork. You almost have to respect the consistency. They may not win many games, but man, they never miss a chance to disappoint. For Shedeur Sanders, this isn't just a football challenge. It's a survival test. This is about endurance. Can he rise above the noise? Can he outlast the system long enough to change it from the inside? Because make no mistake, the whole league is watching. Everyone knows the kid's talent is real, but everyone also knows Cleveland's reputation is even more real. If things go sideways, the blame won't fall on Shedeur. It'll land right on the organization that can't stop tripping over its own playbook. The irony writes itself. The same analysts who once hyped the Browns' rebuild are now wondering if the rebuild itself needs rebuilding.
Players are underperforming, the coaches are underperforming, the general manager's underperforming, but as long as the owner is the head circus clown.
Yeah, which he is. Yeah.
And he's P.T. Barnum.
Yep.
He's picking all of these people under him.
Yeah.
This is who he is. This is what the organization is.
And
he's not going to get it right until he walks away and hires people to do it.
Right. And it's not impossible to win with a bad owner, but it's much harder.
Mel Kiper didn't just drop criticism. He dropped truth bombs. He exposed the endless cycle of hype and heartbreak that's haunted this franchise for decades. The Browns aren't cursed. They're just chronically confused. They mistake noise for progress and momentum for leadership. And when it all falls apart, again, they act shocked, like the universe just has it out for them instead of realizing it's their own mess catching up. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders is standing in the middle of that storm, a young quarterback trying to navigate chaos he didn't create. It's almost poetic, a generational talent trapped in the generational mess. If Cleveland truly wants to change, it's not about another press conference, another reboot, or another fresh start. It's about doing the one thing they've never managed to do: build real stability. Because here's the truth, if you keep changing everything, nothing ever changes. It's the same movie, just a new cast. The names on the jerseys change, the mistakes stay the same. You could swap Shedeur Sanders with any young quarterback and the ending would still be predictable.
So I don't trust the Cleveland Browns when it comes to their quarterback situation on or off the field. So they announce on game day that Shedeur has a quote-unquote back injury, yet he did go out to warm up. They watched him warm up and they disqualified him because he's got a back injury. I don't trust it for 1 second. Bailey Zappi has I said it 5 times on the show, he's been the unofficial, unstated backup quarterback all along because Belichick once drafted him in the 4th round as a potential replacement for Tom Brady.
Promise, chaos, heartbreak, repeat. Until the Browns figure out who they actually want to be. They'll keep becoming exactly what everyone expects. A team that almost gets it right before inventing a new way to mess it up. There's a sad beauty to it. A franchise so desperate for redemption, yet so addicted to dysfunction that it keeps tripping over its own potential. Mel Kiper's rant wasn't just a critique, it was a eulogy for what could have been. Because if history has taught us anything, it's that Cleveland doesn't just struggle to win, it struggles to learn. The NFL loves redemption arcs. It loves the comeback stories. The underdog who rises, the fallen star who finds his spark again. The talent is there, the opportunity is there, and all Cleveland needs now is the direction. The one thing they've been missing for decades. It's not too late to fix it, but time's running out fast. If they don't, Mel Kiper won't need to say another word. The scoreboard will handle that conversation loud and clear. Other franchises play football. The Browns, they play roulette. Every decision feels like a spin of the wheel, hoping this time it lands on something that works. And for Shedeur Sanders, that's the real test. Breaking the cycle before it breaks him. Because if he manages to survive the chaos and rewrite the narrative, it won't just be a win for him,
This is not the first time that Mel Kiper has gone viral for his takes and thoughts about the NFL draft. He's been doing this as long as anybody. He practically invented the NFL draft with his enthusiastic draft coverage, but we have never seen anything close to this with his consistent remarks about Shedeur throughout. It's okay to be wrong. When you're in sports and you give takes, you can be wrong. It's just a matter of when to let it go, and he continued to pour in, and Reese Davis at one point stepped in to try and destroy the narrative that Mel...
It'll be a miracle for the entire city. But if Cleveland keeps doing what it always does, overthinking, overpromising, and under-delivering, then history will repeat itself, only louder this time. So here's the question everyone's asking. How many times can the Browns be handed a generational quarterback before they finally figure out how to protect one? The answer, as always, depends on whether this franchise can finally do the one thing it's never done consistently, get out of its own way. Mel Kiper's warning still hangs over this team like a prophecy. Give them a quarterback with all the tools, and they'll hand him a toolkit with no instructions. But maybe, just maybe, this time Shedeur Sanders is the exception. What if he's the one who finally breaks the curse? Not by depending on the Browns system, but by surviving it. Because that might be the real test here. Not just whether he can win games, but whether he can stay sane long enough to change the story. This city deserves that moment. That one season where everything finally clicks. The fans deserve to stop living in next year mode. And Shedeur deserves an organization that believes in him more than it believes in its own excuses.
Well, Mel Kiper is the latest to go at and destroy the Cleveland Browns organization over this whole quarterback situation when it comes to Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Now, we all know who Mel Kiper is, well respected in the sports of football. Mel Kiper's big board, his draft board, he gives you great breakdown on players. And he said some things about the Cleveland Browns organization that you don't want.
Mel Kiper's rant might have sounded harsh, but maybe that's exactly what Cleveland needs. A wake-up call with national volume. A reminder that talent doesn't last forever if you waste it long enough. Because football isn't just about raw skill, it's about alignment. The right player in the right system with the right leadership. Until the Browns figure that out, they'll keep turning potential into cautionary tales. The league's watching. The fans are waiting. And whether he asked for it or not, Shedeur Sanders might be Cleveland's last real shot to prove they've learned from their mistakes. So can they finally build something worth believing in? Or will they do what they always do best? Take something beautiful and watch it crumble from the inside? Because if this ends like every other Cleveland story, Mel Kiper won't have to say a word. The results will do the talking all by themselves. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Because this saga in Cleveland, it's only getting started.